Perhaps also one of the reasons why we've now seen rating agencies like Moody, they've revised India's outlook from negative to stable and so on. And also the vaccine drive, which initially was faltering, but seems to have picked up steam, even though we're still quite a way short of targets. Is that again going to kind of help cushion India compared to other countries which, as you mentioned, I mean, either you have problems of acute vaccine hesitancy in countries like America, which are flush with vaccines, or parts of the world where they just don't have vaccines?
I mean, one of the reasons we have the growth numbers that we have, which is 9.5% this year and 8.5% next year, is because of the success on the vaccination front. I think it is, hugely commendable that with such a large population, you already have 50% of the population with at least one dose of the vaccine at this point in time. So that is a source for, the confidence that the recovery will continue. But again, the kind of variants that we are seeing are incredibly transmissible. And so you have to get to some very high levels of vaccination. Now, there is a combination of, immunity that you got from having, gotten COVID combined with the vaccination. So there are many parts to it, but I would say there's still the risk that, there could be a third wave. I would say, that remains.
Right. And especially because even while individual countries might be doing better with their own vaccination drive, this whole idea that, until everyone's safe, no one is safe, will remain a problem. When you look at this question of vaccine inequality, which you've spoken about quite strongly in the past as well, from our last conversation, where do you see it now? Is there still an acute vaccine inequality with many parts of the world, especially the not so well-off countries, still struggling to get their vaccine stocks?
So if you look at the numbers, Srinivasan, the target was to get to 40% coverage in every country by the end of this year. At this point, based on current projections, 75 countries will not get there. So there remains a serious problem. And if you look geographically at the world, and I look at this all the time because we have all these projections, is that it's the African continent where you are seeing the biggest deficits. I mean, that is where the biggest gaps exist. About 4% of the population has been fully vaccinated at this time. So that's the distance, that's where the attention has to be focused on in getting vaccines to these parts of the world, to low-income countries. And it can be done. It can be done if you just look at the manufacturing, what's in the pipeline these next couple of months, what pledges have been made by countries in terms of dose donations. It can happen, but you just need that bigger push. By the way, what's also very, very important is what India does on the export front.
Sure.
And the fact that there was recently announced that because of the coverage that now exists in India, you're in a comfortable place to start re-exporting. The low-income countries, the ones that are getting their vaccines through COVAX, depended a lot on exports from India.
Right.
So resuming those exports certainly helps.